So I put those two chapters together because they talk about the same thing. They talk about supply chain management, right? So we start talking about operation management, our first chapters so far, kind of focused on what companies were doing internally. So their quality process, their inventory, their layout, kind of their internal decision. So now we're going to talk about supply chain management, or if you remember the first video, right, the guy talked kind of reworded to managing off the chain of supplies, right? So the difference here is, companies not isolated, right? No company can operate only, by themselves. So they have to have a network of customers, of information flow, and a bunch, dozens and dozens and hundreds of suppliers that supply each material, each service that you're going to use. So that becomes a lot more complicated because, and especially nowadays, where companies are very specialized in what they're doing. So that means that they have a bunch of other companies that are doing something very, very specific. So everyone is specializing doing a few things. And again, you guys heard a lot about supply chain with this coronavirus crisis because people need to have their equipment, that people need to have material, and that the supply chain has to make sure that we have the ventilators that we need, right? So a lot of kind of changes going on because guess what? We don't have as much ventilators that we would need, so we need to produce them, and we need to adapt the supply chain. So it's not only okay, it's one company that have to change, which is the company that assembles the ventilators. No, that's not the problem. If it's only assembling, it's actually easier to be done by anyone. The problem is, well, I need all the metal parts, I need all the plastics, I need all the valves, I need all the supply chain of that company to also adjust their volume, right? And that's where things get a little bit more complicated. And usually to introduce a new product in a supply chain, it takes a year or more depending on the complexity. So cars take 3 years from the beginning of the design until you start producing the car. Other kind of simple products can take less than that, but you need to adjust all your suppliers. So that's where kind of the complexity is hidden.